We know that the top supplements for bone health are protein, vitamin D, and vitamin K. And coming in at second, we would have calcium and magnesium. Those are the top 5 natural supplements for supporting bone health, improving bone mineral density to reduce our risk for things like osteoporosis and fractures and whatnot. Now, we had a great question here at When Wellness, and that was, I see vitamin K in all these sorts of supplements. There's all these different types and amounts. What is it? What does it do? What do I need? Bop, 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 especially in terms of bone health. So, bada bing, bada boom, here you go. Here's the answer to your question. When it comes to vitamin K, we have 2 subforms of vitamin K. But before we even get into vitamin K, let's talk about why protein in itself and vitamin D and vitamin K and magnesium, all these are even good for bone health, quickly, as a review. Protein's a major constituent of bone, right? We forget about protein. Everybody thinks about calcium and magnesium and vitamin D and bop, 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 and vitamin K, which you should be thinking about, but it's a major constituent of bone. So you want to make sure you're getting adequate amounts of protein, at least 0.68 grams or so per pound of body weight, right? I always just aim pretty much for a pound of body weight if I don't have kidney disease or some other issue where I shouldn't be having high amounts of protein, okay? So that's one. Vitamin D promotes the absorption and transport of calcium, right? And vitamin K ensures, especially K2, ensures that calcium is being absorbed into bones. And that's a very important thing because we don't want it to be absorbed in soft tissue, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Magnesium is necessary for the activation of vitamin D in the body, right? Proper metabolism of vitamin D. And so we all have heard of calcium as well in terms of its role in bone health, mineral constituent of bone. So that's why those are the top 5. Now, again, when it comes to K2, we have 2 subforms. We have vitamin K1 and vitamin K2. K1, also known as phylloquinone, is majorly found in plants. It's our plant form of vitamin K, and especially in cruciferous vegetables. Things like broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower and kale and arugula, right? And bok choy and all that kind of stuff. Right, so that's a lot of vitamin K1. Now, K1 is majorly involved in blood clotting, okay? Vitamin K2 can be broken into 2 subforms. That would be MK4 and MK7. MK, because it's menaquinone, is vitamin K2. And MK4 is something that we find in animal food. So a lot in animal meat. And when it comes to MK7, we find that in fermented foods in the highest amounts. Okay, so now K1 and K2, and both their subsets, all support proper blood clotting in the body and the absorption of calcium into bone. But some do a better job than others for that purpose. Albeit, again, I want to reiterate that all 3, since they help to reduce calcification of arteries and support blood clotting, proper clotting, and support the absorption of calcium into bones, support both bone health and cardiovascular health, right? So, when it comes to K1, that is metabolized right directly in the liver, okay? And it's broken down and it's converted into these blood clotting proteins, right? Proteins involved in blood clotting, and so that's its major thing. Now, K2, and we're talking MK4 and MK7 again, and more research has been done on MK4, is something that is transported right into soft tissues. It's quicker absorbed into soft tissues. And so it's metabolized there and has a greater direct effect on reducing the calcification of smooth muscle, aka arteries in this case, which is the most relevant form of smooth muscle we're talking about. Other examples would be like the muscle that lines the GI tract, your intestines, things like that, right? And so if you're gonna get most of your vitamin K from those cruciferous vegetables, from plant sources, you're somebody who's a vegetarian or vegan, you have to be careful if you're eating tons of these cruciferous veggies because they're high in what are called goitrogens. Now they're great for a lot of other reasons, but too much of anything isn't good. And they're high in goitrogens, which can affect your levels of thyroid hormone. They can lower thyroid hormone production and cause deficits in thyroid parameters, right? And so, that's something obviously we'd like to avoid. How do we avoid that? If I'm someone that is a vegetarian or vegan and I'm eating all those things anyway, and I don't just want to have foods that are high in K2, Well, you're going to need to take some source of iodine to balance that out. Something that'll promote thyroid hormone production and proper thyroid function, right? And so things that contain iodine would be seafood like cod or shrimp, or things like milk or yogurt or cottage cheese. And if you don't like any of those, then you can look up some other foods, or you can just have an iodine fortified food like iodized salt, or you can have an iodine supplement that's anywhere from 75 to 150 micrograms in a day, okay, to balance all this out and to make sure you're producing adequate levels of thyroid hormone. Now, how much K2, how much vitamin K in general do I want to take for bone health in terms of the optimal dosage via the research? Well, you're going to want 200 micrograms of MK7 and or 45,000 micrograms of MK4. MK4 is the form that they've used in most of the studies to show improvements in calcium absorption into bone and hence bone mineral density, right? But MK7 shows promise as well. It is very similar, and you need a lot less of it. Now, we need a little bit more research to show if lower doses of MK4 could also have the same types of beneficial effects. But that is vitamin K for you. I hope it was helpful. And remember, before anything, try to change up those foods you're eating. Try to make sure that you're getting adequate amounts from the diet. That's first and foremost with all supplements in general, right? They're called supplements for a reason. You supplement them with a healthy diet and lifestyle. Happy Saturday. Who do we got on here? Let's say hi to the people. And we got to go to my brother's birthday party. Hey, what's up, Miles? See you soon. I'm leaving in 2 minutes. This took a little longer than I expected. Gilbert. Alex, what's up? 831 Amy, Edwin, Eddie Rodriguez. Enter Couture. Okay. What's up? Holly, how you doing? El Patron, first one of the day. How are you, my friend? I hope you have a fantastic Saturday. This one's for you. Enjoy. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. It's all we got for you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. We got a party to catch. Not sure where, not sure when, but we'll see you then. Have a great one. Thanks a lot. Happy Wellness. Ciao.